Fate has no mercy.
Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life.
Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble.
When you think of war, you think about loss of life. When you think about war, you think about loss of comfortability. And black people are comfortable in America. It's easy for you to go to your light switch and turn your light on and the lights come on. It's easy for you to sit down on your toilet, relieve yourself and flush the toilet, and the water comes and takes your waste away. It's easy for us to be able to have those amenities that our enemy supplies to us. So we're very comfortable. War is going to take removing that comfortability and learning how to exist without needing our enemy. And that's not going to be very easy. So
no, I don't worry. I tell you, I'm a man who believed that I died 20 years ago. And I live like a man who is dead already. I have no fear whatsoever of anybody or anything.
Fear. The acronym for fear. The acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. That's the acronym for fear. Fear. You know, some of us is slaves to it, man. You carried and drawn by fear, man. And this is why I showed you these few clips. Make you think. So when you think about it right now, and when it comes versus when it comes, you won't be overdrowned on what to do, man. Your mind won't be flooded on what to do. Think on these things, man. Some of us is slaves to fear. And you know, Yahawashi himself even equates fear with doubt. Right? Matthew 8:26. And he said unto them, why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. See that? You can only fear when you don't understand the power of Yahawah Shem Yahawashi. That's the only way you can really be just drawn with fear. Because outside of him, there is nothing but fear. David in fear when he killed the Goliath. But he slew him right in front of everybody. It made him a public demonstration of what not to do when you're messing with the Most High's people. Fear. Fear. That's what fear is, man. False evidence appearing real. So what time that we headed into? We have to have extra faith that stomps on fear, or be a slave to it. All right, Hebrews chapter 2, verse 15. And deliver them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage. Yeah, you subject to bondage when you subject to fear. You're subject to bondage when you're subject to fear. Right? That's why we got to fight fear, man. Now, there's two different forms of fear. There's a fear of reverence. There's a fear where the scripture says in the book of Philippians, you know, that we ought to work our own salvation with fear and trembling. But see, we replace that fear with the fear of man. We're more afraid with the fear of man than the fear of Yahawah Shem Yahawashi. And that's a problem, man. This is why the Most High is coming back to stretch his arm out in wrath and destruction, man. This is Hebrews chapter 1, Salaki chapter 2. Verse 12. Philippians 2:12. Wherefore, my beloved, Paul calls the church of the Philippians his beloved. Hey, David's name means beloved. He called Daniel the beloved. Israel is the beloved of the Most High. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. See that? Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be working our own salvation. That workout is a little workout, man. Keeping yourself occupied on the things above and not things of this earth that can destroy. See that? Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. See that? Fear. So, and this is why I play all those clips. And the lady at the end, which she made some good points. Outside of our enemy, who are we? Outside of our enemy's provision, who are we, man? We would be fearful in that day because we've been supplied by our enemies for I don't know how long. Right? And this is why. That's part of the curse. We're going to be up under our enemies. Alright? And we're going to get all our supplies was going to come through his hand because he runs the show for now. This is Deuteronomy 28, one of the curses. This is why we have, like the lady said, we got to get everything from our enemy, which is true. This is Deuteronomy 28, and we're going to read verse 48. Therefore shall thou serve thy enemies, like the girl just said, which the Lord Yahawah shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. A want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. See that? So we ought to serve our enemies. We have to get everything from our enemies in order to, provide for ourselves. So it's really not our own provision, whether we get a job and get our own money. It's still up under this man's hands because he has been given the power to do so. So it's true. Outside of the enemy, who are we, man? So it's gonna be a lot of fear, man. It's gonna be I'm forewarning beforehand to prepare your souls, as the scripture says. That's what we ought to do. Prepare our souls. All these different trials you've been going through has been practice for the big one. We are diving into the big one. It's coming. Alright? So we ought not to fear. Or you can be that person that Yahawashi had to rebuke his own disciples on. O ye of little faith. Be not afraid. You know what I'm saying? Be not afraid. If David himself in confidence slew Goliath, hey man, he had to fight the lion and the bear first. Right? So the Lord always makes sure we practice before we go into anything. So now he entrusts us to dive into Jacob's trouble, man. That's the next step of our deliverance. And he entrusts us. So with that, I'm gonna give all honor and all praise to Yahawashi Yahawashi, Barakatham. And like I said, man, don't be a slave for fear. Be a slave to righteousness. Do not doubt in these last days. Shalawam.